Hello students, welcome back. Previously we went through the basic strategy of linear equations, or rather all equations. And then we went through a couple of examples, trivial example and a less trivial example. Now let's begin from an example with denominators. Okay, let's copy and paste this problem. Let me see. Let me increase the font a little bit because there are so many denominators. It's going to be a little bit easier to see it this way. And then one more thing to remember. Whenever you see a horizontal bar, you have to assume that a parenthesis is hidden. Hidden parenthesis. Actually, you can get parentheses downstairs as well, but there's no addition or subtraction down there, so it's not really necessary. For numerator, this is going to be really helpful, especially when you punch into calculator in TI-80 level. If you forget the parentheses for the upstairs, downstairs, then you may end up with something different. That's one reason. Another reason is the preparation of removing all these denominators. The parentheses here, the hidden parentheses here, work as the preparation for that. What is that preparation? Multiply a strategic number to all these terms, each of these terms, so that I can remove all the denominators. So what should I multiply? Well, one surefire way is to multiply all these denominators. Multiply by 60, it works. But it's a bit of an overkilling. As a matter of fact, there's a little bit better number. What is it? It's okay to multiply by 30. Multiply by 30. And then don't forget about multiplying by 30 to this integer part as well. You see, what's actually happening is multiplying 30 to this entire left-hand side, and then multiplying 30 to entire right-hand side. Because that's a property of an equality. Multiply the same thing to both left-hand side and right-hand side, then the equality is preserved. And then you can go backward, vice versa, if the multiplication is by non-zero number. Remember all those? And then you can distribute around. So the distribution has to apply to everything here, not just fraction, but this one as well. As a matter of fact, a lot of students forget about multiplying it to the integer part, and it's already integer, so there's no motivation to multiply by something to make it simpler. Maybe that's why people forget about that, but please don't. It's coming from distributive properties, so it has to be applied to everything, each one of those. By the way, how did you get this 30? Well, in order to be really precise, you can do the prime factorization and get the least common multiple of all these three numbers, 5, 6, and 2. But in practice, you just begin from multiplying a couple of them until you hit something. Like 2 times 5 is 10. Doesn't work. 10 is not divisible by 6. 2 times 6 is 12. Not divisible by 5. 5 times 6 is 30. Yes, it works. So you don't really have to multiply by all three, but if you lost track, then you may have to multiply by all three, or all four, or all five denominators to get something really inefficient here, but surefire way. Anyway, in this particular case, let's assume that you found out 30, and let's multiply 30 to each fraction and each integer, each term, everything. And then let's go ahead. Multiplication. So multiply these out. No, don't do that. You have to divide first. Why? Remember, we are at step 1. The purpose of all this GCD, or excuse me, LCD, the least common denominator business, is to remove the denominator. Don't forget the purpose. Instead of multiplying all those out and breaking up the parentheses, you have to take care of the denominator first. If you break up this order and then do parentheses first, at some point you have to come back to take care of the denominator. And that's gonna be inconvenient. It's kind of like when you dress up, you gotta wear the underwear first, and on top of that, you have to put on your pants. If you forget it, and then if you put on the pants, and then later on, oh, wait a minute, I forgot something, you have to take out the pants and put on the underwear, and then put on the pants again. It's cumbersome. It's inconvenient that way. Much better to follow the order. Okay, you can beat around the bush and somehow you can get it right, even though you do it inefficiently, better than getting it wrong, but still, you're exposing yourself that much to possible mistakes. Don't do that. Remember, we are at step 1, so denominator first. Let me copy and paste that. Now, 30 divided by 5, what is it? Now, it's better to just go straight new. 30 divided by 5 is 6. Okay, that's the first term. 30 divided by 6 is 5. So left-hand side is done. Now right-hand side. 1 times 30 is 30. That was easy. 30 divided by 2 is 15. So we have this step, and then no more denominator. So we have to go to the second step, parentheses. Make sense? Multiply the LCD to each term, not just fractions, but everything, and then remove the denominator through appropriate divisions. 30 divided by 5, 30 divided by 6, 30 divided by 2. You have to multiply the same number to each term, in this case 30. If you multiply different numbers to different terms, then you don't get anything at all, and you're going to get 0 credit. One of more common mistake is to miss the integer part. Be careful about that. Alright, next. Let's break out the parentheses. We went through this before, but here's a good exercise, so let's do it. Distribute around 6. 18 plus 12y and then negative 5 times 4y, so negative 20y. Oops. And then negative 5 times 1. So you have to distribute negative 5 to this one and that one. Alright? Now 30 minus. This time negative 15 times 2, so that's negative 30. And negative 15 times y, so negative 15y. Be careful about the signs, especially when you have negative coefficient. Circle the entire number, including the sign, and draw an arc. Okay, all right. It's going to be straightforward and easy from this point on. 12 minus 20, so negative 8y, and then 18 minus 5, 13. 30 minus 30 is 0, so 15y. Is that right? Okay, let's go ahead. Flip this negative 15 to the other side. Remember, change the side, change the sign. So 15 minus 8, so we get 7y. 7y equals to negative 13. Therefore, y equals to negative 13 divided by 7. I guess that's it. Negative 13 over 7 is the answer to this problem. Let's see, what do I have here? Yes, the very same process, negative 13 over 7. Let's see, do I have time for one more problem? Okay, all right. Let's go ahead. Stop the playback and try it on your own. So, did you get the LCD? What number to multiply to each term? What is it? LCD is 30. Again, 30. By some coincidence, we got the same thing, 30 again. And if you multiply 3 times 10 times 15, that's going to be a great deal of overkilling. It's not really necessary. Just 30 will do. 3 times 10, that's 30, and that's divisible by 15. And if you're really unsure, you can do prime factorization. So multiplying by 30 to each of these fractions, and then go ahead with simplifying the denominators. You see, step 1 is denominator, so denominator first. And then what do you get? Stop the playback if necessary and get to the bottom of it. Okay, what did you get? Did you get this computation? Let's see, increase the font. Multiplying by 30 to each term. And don't forget this 30 times 2, which is 60. And then divided by 3, divided by 10, divided by 15, so that you remove all the denominators, and then remove parentheses, and then go ahead and take like terms. That's how you do it. Okay, so much for example 1.4, and we're gonna need another video for 1.5, I guess. So let's stop here for now.